Okay, so today we will learn more about the data structure. So in previous video we learned about the basics of the programming, which is the primitive data types and the loops if else condition. Now today we will going to look upon the data structures. So if I'm saying about data structure, so just think about it's containers which are present in our computers or in our programming languages, which we can use to basically store our different types of data in it. So as simple as that, they are simply a containers which are used to store some values. Now some of you might be thinking, okay, so yesterday we study primitive data types. They are also used to store data. Here is a catch. In data types, it is basically the very foremost a basic line of any data. For example, int. So every number can be considered as an int. Now suppose if I want to store the marks of 10 students, then if data structures are not available, then I have to create 10 different data variables to store a particular class marks. So it is very complex to basically maintain that. Now even in 10 students we can easily do that, but now suppose we have a country of around millions of people. So if I want to store some data which are connected to all the peoples of this country, so it is not possible with the data types. So in programming we have having some kind of collections. So like if I talk about the array, so yeah, let me just show you. So in array, it is basically a container where we can store the multiple datas of any a same kind. So the very important thing is of array is it is a homogeneous. So suppose if I initiate a array by array ARR and with some size, so this array can contains only integer values because I initialized them as integer. So it does not contain any string or any boolean or any float. It only contains the integer. So the first and foremost thing is arrays are always homogeneous. Okay, so what I think is, like, if you search on online you can find a lot of tutorials on data structures. What I personally believe is in data structure we basically need 5 operations. The 4 is most commonly called as the CRUD operations. So the C is for create, U for update, R for read, and D for delete. So these are the basic 4 operations, and the fifth one which I also feel is important is a transfers. Means how to print that data structure. So I personally believe that 5 these are the basic functions or the basic functionalities of every data structure. So in our upcoming videos and this video, we will study all of this data structure according to those 5 functionalities. Okay, so yeah, let me just start with the array. So the first thing of array is initialization. So like in initialization, we have a different types also. The one which is very famous is this. So here we first define the data type. Okay, so this array contains integer values, and then the name of that data structure, like I can give it any name, for example xyz, car, students, any name you can give. There is no restrictions in naming. And then the size. Now here comes the second method. Suppose if I know that if like in the next videos we will doing some questions, so there will be the two types of questions. So the in the first question you might know the size of the array in the starting of question, and there may be some cases in which you have to take a input from a user of the array size. So in that case we will not explicitly defining the size of array. Instead we will put n as an integer and then take n as an input from the user and then create that amount, that size of array. So it's a second method. But today we will start with the simple one. So here I define that this is my array of name ARR of 10 size. So it means this ARR container can contains 10 different types of integer value like this. Okay. Now we just initialize it. So we didn't even store any value in it. So it is a simple initialization. So the second part is come as a create. Okay, we have container, we have its size. Now just put some integer value in it. So here I use a loop. It's a simple loop which I teach you in the previous lecture. And then here I will do. So in this array we have some called as an index. So this I is known as an index. So this, and typically in programming indexes start from 0. So if I'm telling about that this array contains 10 integers, so the index start from 0 till 9. Okay, so every time I am storing I plus 1, for example I am storing 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 to the array, and then we have a transfer. So we can simply print out the array we using the loop and the index. And also we have update. Suppose okay, I have created an array. Let's just run the code so that we can understand it better. If I click on run, so our code will run till here. So let's see, we have created an array of size 10 and we have this array. Now suppose if some question came or some logic came in which we need to change some value. For example, I need to change the value of this 5 to suppose 500. So what I will do, so first I will need to find out the index of this 5. So 0 1 2 3 4. So the array, so the index is 4, and now I need to convert the value 5 to 500. And if I run this code, then you will see the output. See, the whole array is same, just this 5 value is converted to the 500. So that is array. And also in last we have a delete function. We can't run this on an online compiler because the array which is forming is created using the heap memory or some internal memory, so we cannot delete it from the online compiler. But if you are running this on your local system, then you can similarly run this command for delete. I will attach all this code in the description so you can easily find out all the code. So this is the basic concept of array. So what we have learned just conclude. So this is a step for initialization. So every time before using any data structure we have to initialize it, and then we have to put some values which we can say as a creating our data structure or creating some values in that, and then transfers and then update. So yeah, that's the main thing. Now the question arises, okay, so array is only of integer type? No. So if we want to basically have a array of string, for example string string, okay, so here we can put some string here. For example, I want to put every time num equals to and then I, so it will put this. Okay, and let's wait for the update function. We will see what we will update. First simply run this. So this time we have a array of string of same size. Let's put this like this, simply num. you can see we have a array of string of all num. So that's a one thing. We can also put it like as a ABCD, or we can store something. So yeah, so array is basically a type of data structure in which we can store only homogeneous data. That thing you should remind. So we can create a string, we can create of integer, we can create for boolean, we can create for anything else like character and any other primitive data types. So the thing which we learn in class 1, so all the primitive data types which we have, we can create array for them. So we, in a simple term, we can create a homogeneous collection of them in an array. So yeah, so in the next lecture we will see about the STL library. Is a very important library because currently you may be studying in some college, in some class, but if you move to the corporate, so there we don't use array, or we don't use any basic data structures. There we will use STL library. It's a standard template library which is commonly used in the corporates where C++ is used for development. So first we will see that, because I am teaching you this coding for the company standards. So yeah, so we will see about the STL and then the other features which STL is providing us. So yeah, that's the thing. Hopefully see you in the next lecture. Have a good day. Bye.